Today, I'm going to tell you about a man. He wasn't born in America. Even his last name is still debated. He was involved in a scandal. His son died in a duel. He himself lost his life to a bullet. And yet, today, America's economic system came out of his mind. This is the real story of Alexander Hamilton. Even his birth was a scandal. Alexander Hamilton was born in the Caribbean. Nevis or St. Croix? It's still not clear. Even his birth year is debated, 1755 or 1757. But the real issue is this. He was born out of wedlock. In the 18th century, that meant being socially stained. His father abandoned the family. His mother struggled with debt and illness. Hamilton lost his mother when he was 11 years old. Orphaned, poor, last name uncertain. For a founding father to come out of this seems impossible. But this is where the story changes direction. A hurricane and a letter. A hurricane devastated the Caribbean. Young Hamilton wrote an account describing the disaster. The letter was so powerful that it was published in a newspaper. The people of the island were shocked. "This boy cannot stay here," they said. Wealthy men collected money and sent him to New York. So the thing that changed Hamilton's destiny was not a war. It was a piece of writing. This was his first display of power, his pen. And that pen would later write America's constitutional destiny. Washington's right hand, but in his shadow. When the American Revolution began, Hamilton went to the battlefield. He drew attention with his bravery. In a short time, he became George Washington's closest aide. But there was an unknown tension. Hamilton wanted to fight. Washington kept him at the desk. Hamilton was impatient, ambitious. He wanted to rise. And finally, at Yorktown, he received battlefield command. That assault changed the fate of the war. But for Hamilton, the war was only the beginning. His real battle was over the economy. Federalist Papers, he wrote day and night. The U.S. Constitution might not be accepted by the public. The opposition was strong. Hamilton began writing the Federalist Papers with James Madison and John Jay. But most people don't know this. 51 of the 85 essays belong to Hamilton. Sometimes he wrote 5 essays in a single week. Sleepless, under pressure, racing against time. These writings are still fundamental references in constitutional law today. So Hamilton didn't just win a war, he won the war of perception. America's hidden architect Washington became president. He appointed Hamilton as Secretary of the Treasury, and Hamilton announced a bombshell plan. All state debts would be assumed by the federal government. A national bank would be established. The state would support industry. A strong central authority would be formed. These ideas were considered too centralized at the time. A serious ideological conflict began between him and Thomas Jefferson. In fact, the foundation of today's Democrat-Republican divide was laid here. Hamilton built the American version of modern capitalism, and he did it in his 30s, America's first sex scandal. And now, a sensational but real event. Hamilton was a married man. He had an affair with a married woman named Maria Reynolds. Her husband blackmailed him. He took money from Hamilton. When political rivals raised corruption allegations, Hamilton panicked, and he did something unprecedented in history. He published a 95-page confession. Yes, he revealed the entire affair, all the details, with his own hand. The purpose? To say, I am not corrupt, I just fell into a foolish relationship. This was America's first major political sex scandal, and his career suffered serious damage. 2 deaths in the same place. Hamilton's son Philip entered a duel to defend his father's honor, and he was shot and killed. Hamilton was devastated. 3 years later, he entered a duel at the same place. His opponent, Aaron Burr. The surprising claim is this: Hamilton deliberately fired into the air. In other words, he did not want to kill. But Burr took aim. Hamilton was shot. He died the next day. He had established America's financial system at the age of 34. At 49, he died in a duel. Contradictions on slavery. Hamilton was openly against slavery. He was one of the founders of the New York Manumission Society. But some documents show that his family may have had connections to slavery through commercial relations. So he is not a completely clean figure. That makes him more human, more complex. The least known. Truth. Hamilton is one of the few founding fathers not born in the United States. He was an immigrant. Today, the American financial system, the federal tax structure, the public debt model, came out of the mind of an immigrant. Conclusion. Hamilton was not a romantic leader. He was not charming. He was not diplomatic. But he built a system, and systems outlive leaders. Today, the face on the $10 bill is not just a portrait. It is the signature of an economic revolution. If you want to learn about the power games, scandals, and strategic intelligence battles behind history, you are in the right place. Because sometimes the most dangerous people in history are the smartest ones. To discover the unknown face of history together, subscribe and like the video. The next story will make you question everything you think you know.